The latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. In Germany, the Online Audio Monitor 2021 has been released. 25% of Germans are listening to podcasts at least once a month. Spotify is the number one podcast platform. YouTube is number 2. Apple Podcasts is number 7. And Google Podcasts is number 9. NZ On Air, the New Zealand government's media funding service, has also released media consumption data. 13% of Kiwis listen to podcasts daily. It's one of only 2 media types to have increased in the past year. The other is on-demand video. And to compare that 13% daily figure with the German data, just 5.7% of Germans listen daily. Last week, Clubhouse mentioned that there are 700,000 Clubhouse rooms made every day on the service. They've added that those rooms last 70 minutes on average. Rockwell Felder, co-founder of Squadcast, is profiled in the Mercury News. SBS, the Australian public service broadcaster, is calling to podcasters to submit concepts and pitches. In Kenya, Farida Idris, the group commercial director at Capital FM, has said high data costs are affecting podcast consumption in the country. In Germany, Alex Jacoby has criticised the state of podcast statistics, notably the lack of standard data export and APIs from podcast hosts for those stats. The NAB has also announced a diversity symposium at the NAB show, covering strategies for developing and fostering corporate diversity, equity and inclusion in the media industry. It's a Monday, so time for some tech stuff. If you're receiving boostergrams, Satoshi Streams now shows the total amount sent before splits and fees. It'll say 500 sats sent rather than 500 sats received if it knows that amount. It's using the MSAT total value. We've updated our guide on how to earn value for value from your podcast. If you'd like to take a peek, you'll find that linked from our show notes and our newsletter today. Podnews' audio is produced in 6 different audio files. You're listening to one of them. I've added details on how I make Podnews to our website. Rob Greenlee, in a revamped website, has discussed exclusive podcasts and is concerned that they may slow or harm the medium. And our podcast hosting changes data shows Buzzsprout losing 19 shows overall last week and Megaphone gaining 32. Now, welcome to Boostergram Corner. Wait, we've got a jingle for that.
Boostergram Corner.
Yes, that's it. Send us some sats and a message, and every Monday I hope to read some out. Paul Colligan kindly sent us 500 sats from Podfriend, saying thank you for being Podnews. Well, thank you, Paul Colligan, for being Paul Colligan. That's good of you. Dave Jones sent 1,000 sats from Castomatic, saying my first boost from Castomatic. So congratulations to Franco Solerio for making that possible. And earlier in the week, Dave sent 2,070 sats from CurioCaster with a question. He asks, how did those song analysis shows like Song Exploder handle their music licensing? Well, interesting you should say that. I've got a chat with a podcaster who's managed to put loads of commercial songs into their podcast in the next few days. So if there's a story there, i.e. if he's doing it legally, then we'll cover that later on in the week. So watch Podnews this week for more details on how that works. And if you'd like to get a message through to Monday's Boostergram Corner, hit the boost button and send us a message. And if you don't have a boost button in your podcast app, get a better one at newpodcastapps.com. And in podcast news, Breaking Breakfast has hit the Apple Podcasts #1 over the weekend. It's the story of the Chris Evans Breakfast Show on BBC Radio 1, told by the people who produced it. Johnny Boy Revel, Holly Hotlips Samos, and Dan the Soundman McGrath. It's produced by Bounce. 20 for 20 tells 20 stories of heroism in the 20 years since 9/11. The host is Niels Jorgensen, who served as an FDNY firefighter for 21 years until his forced medical retirement due to the leukemia he contracted from cleaning up Ground Zero. And the Stories from the Stage podcast also reflects on 9/11 in their Season 5 premiere. And that's the latest from our newsletter. For all the links, we're at podnews.net.